Hello, social workers, mental health professionals, and change agents. Welcome to another episode of the Social Work Brands Podcast. I'm your host, Bass Moreno. Saludos a todos. Greetings, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, tapping in wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast. Appreciate all the love support. Gracias a todos por su apoyo. Continue to rock out with the podcast. Follow the podcast on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, aka Meta. Follow the podcast on Instagram at the Social Work Rants Podcast. That is all one word. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Social Work Rants and type in the Social Work Rants Podcast on Facebook and hit that like button. Subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Hit that red subscribe button. Appreciate that. And if you listen to the on audio, definitely rate the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, however you listen to podcasts. Rate the podcast, leave comments, leave reviews. Let me know what you think of the podcast. So, again, thank you for rocking, thank you for supporting, and we're gonna keep on keeping on. So, my guest at this time, Chantel Robinson, LSW in New Jersey. I got some love for Jersey, but both my kids were born in New Jersey and spent 9 years living in New Jersey before going back home to the Bronx. So much love to Jersey.
Absolutely, absolutely.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm glad it's Friday. How are you?
Good, good. Yeah, so this recording is Friday, so definitely kind of like a long but short week at the same time. So I'm glad kick back, watch some playoff basketball, and have some self care and cursing out some refs on the TV. So
Yeah, you
they
both, yes.
it kind of go from there. So for people who don't know who you are, what you're doing, wonderful field of social work, let people know.
All right. I'm Chantel Robinson, as you heard. I'm a licensed social worker, originally from New Jersey. I've lived there all my life. I've lived a year though in North Carolina. Work with the Department of Veteran Affairs. I'm a readjustment counselor. So I work with combat veterans and veterans who underwent military sexual trauma. I run
Mm,
in individual sessions working with them. I hear a lot, I see a lot, but I love veterans. I've been working with them. I worked with them starting in New Jersey and then came down here. So it'll be actually my fourth year will be this June.
oh,
But
nice.
I worked all throughout New Jersey with kids, adults, all settings, all throughout Essex County and all throughout northern New Jersey pretty much before relocating here. So I'm kind of like an OG kind of.
What part of North Carolina you're in now?
I'm in Greensboro,
Greensboro.
North.
Okay.
Yeah, yep,
Uh,
yep. So it's
that's
like the triad. Charlotte's like hour and a half.
okay.
Fayetteville's like 3 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Don't give me the line. I use my yes.
It's, yeah, it's all good. I've heard of Greensboro. I just hear about it like once a year for some ACC college basketball.
Yes,
That's
yes.
that's about it.
With North Carolina A&T.
Okay.
So it's big down here.
Okay. Yeah. So, what are you seeing with the veterans as we get closer to like Memorial Day, then it's like Veterans Day, and like we like honor our troops, and
Mhm.
the country is always they're always gonna spend money on the military. They're gonna cut social services before they do anything related to the military. So like what are you seeing? Like people coming home and kind of like what's going on with them?
Well, if before this is my little disclaimer, these are my opinions, not the opinions of the Department of Veteran Affairs. So I want to put that out there for sure. I think a lot of times veterans are misunderstood. A lot of them are seen as angry or entitled, and that's not the case. I've never served the military, but they've seen and dealt with a lot of things that us average civilians haven't dealt with. And the challenge is them being in that structured environment and then having to come back to civilian world where everything is not structured. So you have veteran that's like high in the ranks, and then he comes back to civilian life. He used to being on time, all types of structure, and then let's say he has a civilian boss who is not really flexible with that or not really as structured as him. It could cause conflict. Not even that. A lot of veterans, as far as like family, they may not they may encounter conflict because they change. All the veterans that went in, you are trained to protect your brethren, your fellow brethren, and you are preparing to eventually possibly be at the risk of getting injured, killed, but defeat the enemy at the same time. Coming back though into civilian world where everything is kind of like not we're not in a war zone per se, but they're always on guard. And with everything that's going on in our country, with these mass shootings and everything, that doesn't help them because they feel like they gotta always look around, always be hyper vigilant.
Right.
So it's just a lot of challenges with like relationships and just readjusting, period. We developed our department for Vietnam veterans. Today we have a moving wall ceremony in Kernersville, which isn't too far. Have a replica of the Vietnam Wall up there. And just seeing those names of all those men and women who died, it was mind boggling. But those veterans, even to this day, they could be 70, 80 years old. They come walking in the door needing assistance, having nightmares, having flashbacks. This readjustment is lifelong. So, it's really intense. And, female veterans, that's a whole different ball game because unfortunately, and male veterans as well, they have encountered sexual trauma. And it's like, damn, who do I talk to about it? Who will hear me? Will anyone hear me? Am I looked at as less than a man or a woman? So it's this whole different dynamics. But one thing I could say about veterans, I love them. They are to the point, if they're not feeling what you're doing, they will be really honest with you. That's what I love about them. And, they really are appreciative. I know for me, like, my saying is, I'm not a preacher, I'm not a pastor, but come as you are, speak how you speak. If you need to curse, go ahead. If you're dealing with some issues at the medical center, if you feel that you're not being heard, I hear you. Let it out with me. Let's talk about it. Because a lot of them feel that they're not heard, even in the big medical center as much as they should be.
No, I totally understand, which is why like the few veterans that I've worked with are like they don't want to be bothered with the VA because they won't feel like they won't get the support they feel like they need or that they're entitled to, and it's like, okay, there are VA benefits, but like, no, I don't want to mess with them because they're not going to get the support that they need, so they rather like do whatever and get any other benefits or whatever they get their hands on and just not mess with the VA at all.
Yeah, the challenge is like it's twofold because veterans are entitled, especially if you discharge honorably, you are entitled to, some benefits, especially if you have been injured or endured some trauma. But a lot of them you have to go through kind of that red tape to get in the system, to get the records. And while the VA has improved, the medical center has improved, it's still like some improvements that have to be done, as far as even getting an appointment. I get disheartened where my veterans want to see a doctor, they gotta wait 3 to 6 months. That's just unacceptable to me.
Right.
And I have a history, I know in New Jersey, where I would call and be like, why aren't you seeing my person? They're going through this, that, and the third. but I get it. Like, unfortunately, there and our whole field, it's just shortages everywhere. So I try to just advocate and empower them because they feel like they're not heard
Right.
in that voice.
So you saying that like the 3 to 6 months wait list to see a doctor that's been since COVID, that wasn't before COVID, or has always been like been an issue?
I think it depends on that particular VA,
Okay.
pretty much. And COVID has not made things better. The problem is, people our age and younger, we're okay with Zoom. Most of us, we're okay with talking to a doctor, telehealth. But then you have veterans who are older, who don't know technology, who's it's not as accessible. It can present a challenge. I know I was still working in New Jersey VA. They had a great initiative of getting tablets out and cell phones out to veterans, but the challenge is unless they have a family or friend or us that could go into could really go in a home because of the lockdowns, but probably meet 6 feet apart and show them how to use the phone, it still was a barrier.
Right.
You know, so it's still work still need to be done. Work still need to be done for sure, especially to care for our vets because I look at it as they've been through so much hell, and they deserve optimal care, and it is heartbreaking that some of them are.
Right. Shout out to all the veterans. I know quite a few that went to high school with that end up being in the service, or at least partly, and then like discharge, or some people still kind of like on the reserve front. So
Yes.
shout out to everybody that served. Yeah, way braver than I would not go like for
Yeah,
nothing.
I was curious about it, but then my mother she was like, "No, you ain't doing it." I was like, "Oh, it seemed mine," but here are some of the stories. Shoot, I know I could go through boot camp. Like I'm lazy.
I would fail the boot camp. Even back then, when I was skinnier and younger, I still would have failed.
Me too.
Um, now you mentioned like sexual assault and like victims of sexual violence, and I know in Texas there was a big case of female Latina being killed, and then like either months later, like a couple years later, there was another one at the same fort that was killed. So like it's and then of course things happen. They want to keep it under wraps, and like it's
Yeah,
it's a lot of stuff going on.
it's a lot of stuff. It's so again just disheartening. Like seeing that, hearing that, it's like, damn, like why is this happening? And you would think, yes, we're in boot camp, but we are together. Like we are fighting together, and yet I'm being violated, by a fellow soldier or a superior, on that level. And, it causes so much damage. Sexual trauma, period, causes damage. But then add military aspect. Now you out, you like, I wanted to do well, and yet I still got, damaged
Hmm.
by someone who was supposed to have protected me or what have you. So it's just really disheartening seeing those stories about, sexual assaults and hearing them. It's really a lot. And even with the men too as well.
Mm.
It's just a lot of it is a lot of shame, a
Yeah,
lot
of
of
course.
so it's just so important, us as social workers to really have that empathetic and non-judgmental ear for them because sometimes we are the only ones that really know what happened with them. Not even their family. They're so ashamed.
Mm. No, understandably so, and I mean this is hard all the way around,
Yeah.
and then if just the way, just the stories that at least has been on the news and stuff, and have like the government kind of like hide stuff and not want to like share it
Right.
out and stuff. And it's like when this happens in our armed forces,
Yeah.
it does happen. So it's like
Yeah.
don't treat the perpetrators any different because they in
Right.
the service. So it's
Exactly. Exactly. They need to be punished, just like anyone else. And to hear even these victims, female and male, who are like, they don't even know, they're even scared to even begin the process of getting entitlements because they have to discuss their story and share it.
mm,
So it's that's why, like, yes, I'm with the Department of Veteran Affairs under the VA, but I love that I'm under the Vet Center, which is it's a separate. We're like the stepchild of the VA because we have more of that flexibility to really hear our people,
mm.
to hear their stories and advocate for them and fight for them. I take that role very seriously.
No, that's good. That's what we're there for
Yeah.
as workers, especially we do that community work in these agencies and
Yes, absolutely. The numbers be high though. I'll be like, wow.
I'm I'm sure, but that's the point of how many people actually need the service and
Yeah.
mental health is pretty much at an all-time high and we just had a pandemic that kind of still lingering around and
It ain't over, even though they say it's over.
yeah, exactly. And it's it's a lot going on. We have a collective collective grief going on, collective PTSD going on, and just not just grief of loss of a person, but just like just getting back to society and
The
kind of
routine.
how it's probably never going to be 100% the same again, but it's just a lot going on and like political stuff and
Yeah. Oh,
just everything that's happening with these different states and doing things,
these laws,
going back in time.
yeah, it's like, am I in the Twilight Zone? Like, that's how I feel it sometimes. Like, like, that I run a women's group. I had a topic on deck. I remember it was last summer with the Roe versus Wade overturn. I was just like, that was our group. We was just like, us as women.
Mhm,
Like, what is going on? It's
mhm.
scary times. It's scary times. They say the pandemic is over, but we have a lot of residual effects as a result of it. Because, like you said, all this collective stuff that's going on,
No,
for sure.
yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. Uh, what's the little that you see? I don't know if you pay attention or not to it, but what's like the political climate where you are in North Carolina?
North Carolina, it's different for sure. Like we have a Democratic governor. I know they're trying to. The elections are coming up, so it's getting kind of heated. Like as far as like the different House representatives, different senators,
Hmm.
a lot of Republicans in there. So a lot of the laws are overturning. Um, I know as far as like the LGBTQ plus community, as far as women rights, opposing sides, and it's just frustrating because it's like at the end of the day, we should be. You would think with this pandemic we'll be more united. It's
Because we
causing more.
all went through it.
Yeah, it's causing more of a division. Then add in the guns. They have it now down here, which is crazy. You don't have to go to the sheriff officers to get a permit. So I'm like, and you can't easily get a gun. But it's like, I think you should still check to see, does this person deserve a gun or not?
Right.
Firearms, fine, but at the end of the day, if you have previous violent history or what have you, then that really should raise some flags. But
Mhm.
it's a mess.
No,
It's
definitely.
yeah,
But
def-
I feel like the U.S. has is missing or has missed a golden opportunity to hire more mental health workers to do psychiatric evals for people. You
yes,
want to get a gun, you need to
yeah,
be evaluated to see if you are sane enough to be responsible to have a gun in your
right.
possession. So it's like just
It's
pay mental health workers to do these assessments, and it's just talk about mental health, and then the first thing that come out of your mouth when a mass shooting happens, they want to blame mental health. Like, no,
you know,
somebody just want to act a freaking fool and just
right.
cause.
Exactly. And then, we have to look into the school climates. Every day on the news, they're having these mass um, hiring of teachers and social workers. I'm in Guilford County in Greensboro, so they're trying to hire more social workers and counselors and teachers, but yet money is taken from those fields. So it's like a person shouldn't have to work for pennies. They're not going to work for pennies.
Not
How,
anymore.
yeah, exactly. How do you expect people to, you know, how do you expect to hire people if you're not paying them? Especially with the down here too, like rents, everything is high, gas high, eggs high.
Mhm.
It's like everything's high. So,
Yeah, it's
as,
a nationwide problem.
yeah, as a whole, exactly, as a whole, the nation we got work to do. And I understand numbers may be low from COVID and stuff like that, but I feel like, okay, pandemic's over, so all the funding and what have you that was for it to assist those who were impacted by it will vanish right away. No one has thought about a plan to help these individuals in the long run. And I know you touched on that in your podcast last week. Well,
Yep.
how that's what I did right before coming down here. Like I was just like, yes, yes, yes. It's true. It's so true.
Yeah,
It's
for those that haven't listened or watched, go back to it. The COVID federal law that was in place for COVID is over. So we back to pre-COVID levels. People need to apply for food stamp certification, Medicaid certifications. People had their food stamps that were increased during the pandemic or back to pre-COVID, which is not helpful where we have inflation and a recession
exactly.
going on. So it's like
Um,
and more people going to be going to housing court about to be foreclosed or lose apartments because they can't afford their rent. So and nobody has, at least with the feds or the states, got the answers how they're going to address this. Nobody's even talking about it.
yeah, it's not talked about. Like I'm like, why is this silent? It's very scary to say the least.
Uh, most definitely, to say the
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. So we're gonna be busy. We still gonna be busy. We were busy. I didn't take a break with COVID, so we're gonna be even more busy now.
I definitely didn't take a break either.
Hmm.
Spent a lot of offering condolences during the beginning of COVID until I moved out of New York. So it was definitely a crazy time.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. Ooh, that New York, New Jersey, them press conferences. I'm like, oh, this is too much. Too much.
Definitely New York, New Jersey. Is every day, all day. I'm sure, like everywhere else too, throughout the country too. But seeing it, and then myself as a medical social worker, hearing about it every day, and then
Yeah.
like you know, even my email, I feel like was toxic because it just
Oh
opened up
my God.
the email and having like clients passing away like left and right.
Yeah.
As soon as you open up an email, it's like
Right.
it's like Twitter now. You see like some bad news or something crazy going on, like a mass shooting. You see like on Twitter like breaking news, and it's like as soon as you open the app, and it's like, That's how it was like the email. It was like
Yeah. And then dealing with that, for me personally, on top of your own stuff, like my
mm,
mom died. She didn't have COVID, but having to deal with my grief along with helping everyone else deal with their grief and their other stuff, it was just, man, look, if it wasn't for the tools and my support system, oh my God, I don't know. I
my condolences. So she passed during these last 3 years.
She passed April 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, that's April 2020. It was just like it was insane with everything else that's going on. But
So so if you don't mind sharing, like how was that like for you? Because like myself going through the same the same thing. With my mom passing. Actually, her anniversary is coming up. By the time this episode airs, it would be like the past 3 year anniversary of her passing. So it was like
um,
how was that like for you?
oh, it was hell. It was hell on earth. To be perfectly honest with you, she was sick. Beginning of 2020, she was very sick. Anyway, and when she passed, it was just like it was like a ton of bricks. Everything else that was going on outside and then personally, it was like a ton of bricks. It was a tough time. But I could say, my coworkers are very supportive, my family, my friends, I thank God for them. Everyone was just so supportive. It was hard, because I didn't want to be bothered, but everyone checked in and made sure that I was good. And the ironic part was 2 months after I had to take my LCSW exam. And I was just like, with everything else that's going on, I might just forego the money and just not take it. But I had a reality check that and other things that was going on. I would put it out there. It is okay as a social worker to a get counseling.
Mhm.
I had to do it myself. And even moving down here, I had to do it. So there's nothing wrong with talking to someone about it because you have your friends, but they can't give you those additional tools.
Mm.
We know it as
Yeah.
professionals field. We give our clients tools, but I know talking to someone, it was not easy, but it helped to get the burden I felt off talking to someone and gaining insight and helping me, process that. I always say grief is a wave. I just went
Oh
over
yeah.
my third year anniversary of losing my mom. I didn't work that day. I didn't work that day or her birthday. I just refused. The day she passed that third year, it was like it just happened. Just the tears was flowing, listen to her songs, and I was just like, oh, crying my eyes off and
Mhm.
everything, having my phone off. And then at the same simultaneously, you're smiling, thinking about those good moments when you look at pictures and stuff. So I don't know if it's part of like adulting or just life.
Mm.
Life has been lifing.
Yes, for real.
Definitely,
Uh,
definitely.
no, thank you for your transparency on that, and I know I definitely taken PTO day like on that on the anniversary day. So
Yeah.
like that, I think like moving forward, that's like like I know the first year when she passed, like I couldn't because I just started a new job. So I would
Mhm.
like look bad and taking the day, but definitely like last year, the year two, and then like year three, like definitely like nah, I'm not working. That's the day. That's moving forward. That's like a goal of mine, and
Yeah.
not working that day. Like so, yeah. Thank you for sharing, and again, my condolences for
My
your
condolences
loss,
too.
and thank you. And it's just in a way, it's like kind of like fascinating. Like it's happening like during COVID. Like all this stuff is happening. We don't know what the hell's going on. Like you got at the time, Agent Orange still acting the fool like every day. It's like he just didn't stop, and it's like we had a an election happening, and it's like,
God,
uh,
yeah.
and then and then on top of that, we got still unarmed African Americans being killed by police and high profile, and then all the protests that's happening, and just like it was just a lot to
It's,
process.
yes, like honestly, like 2020 for me was a blur. Like I don't think I it's crazy. Like I kind of just disassociated like the first 6 months of 2020 sometimes. I'm just like, oh, I was here, I was doing this. Like I really kind of black out some parts of it because it was just too much going on.
Hmm.
After that, George Floyd, it was just like, oh my God, it did the back to back
Yeah,
too much. Like you said, it's just it literally it's like you blowing air in a balloon, then it just explodes.
right. And then, then the beginning of 2021 with the insurrection in the Capitol was like this is
Oh my,
a continuation of
you know
2020.
what's crazy? You know, as a government employee, having my friends say, "Girl, what's your government doing?" I'm like, "What you talking about?" They like turn on the TV because I was teleworking. I said, "Oh my God, this is so ghetto." I was like, "What the hell is happening? This is so embarrassing." I was like, as a federal employee, this was so embarrassing to see this going on. It was just my vets was calling me. They were going off because they patriotic as hell. And
Mm,
this was disgusting. Like phones was blowing up, talking to talking to my vets on video. It was woof,
mm.
Lord. That was just it's too crazy. Too much. Too much.
No, no, that's fascinating. It was good. It's good to hear the vet's perspective
Oh yeah.
on that.
Yeah. A lot of them were very, very angry about it. Like they were calling up, blowing up my phone. I was just like, yeah.
It's funny because I was just watching regular. I must have been watching like cartoons with my nephew, and then like
Mhm.
I literally had just started a job like 2 days before that, and working from home, and like literally I just started, so I literally was like no work. I literally, there was like nothing going on, and then like my brother-in-law comes out of his office like, "You see what's going on in the Capitol? Like what the hell are you talking about?" Like he turned on the TV. I was like, "Oh snap! What the hell is going on?"
Exactly what I said too. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, God, yeah.
Just and then like just continuation just with these last couple years with Biden kind of doing stuff but not really doing stuff.
It's just too much at the same time. Like, life was life thing. Okay.
Yes.
All caps. All caps for real.
No, it's definitely definitely been an interesting time and to and then I be thinking about this like this is how like the 50s and 60s were like ever.
Right. When they had so much. Like, and I'm talking to my aunt, like, is this how it was? She said we're bolder, but it's still it's craziness combined with it.
Yeah.
It's
And then
crazy.
with social media, it's just kind of like
Um,
bombards you like even more. It's
yes,
just like going as much like I had stopped watching news as like just weather and sports. Like I got my sports. I got what's the weather going to be like for today, and like all right, that's it. And like
that's it. That's it.
this is all I can handle. Like
Yeah,
or
same
just
here. Same here. Same.
was all I could do for a while. Was like, and then I had like you know both my parents for a while before my mom passed was like. watching the news all day, every day. I was like, I know the numbers. We talk about it at work. Like,
I don't need you to
work
break
as a medical social worker. I know I have
You got the
gained.
real time data.
Yeah, exactly. Like up to date, direct directly from CDC that we are using. So I don't need regurgitation of CDC statistics from the news, as I got it already. I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah, I had to stop it. Even like, well, before the sports got canceled, like CNN, I'm not CNN, ESPN. I was like, all right, I think I watch a little sports, but then when they got canceled, they started talking. I was like,
Yeah.
canceled TV at all. So I was thankful for all the Facebook and Instagram DJs that was playing
Yes,
music.
Club.
Shout out to them too, because
Yeah, Club Quarantine. We gotta think he the real MVP, right?
yep, that's it. That's it.
Literally, they got like a couple million people on Instagram jamming
That's it.
quarantine.
That's it. Type it real quick and it's back to target.
Then you see people you know on the live, but like these like shut having conversations on the live. Like, what's up? What's up?
I'm like, I can handle this now. Oh my God.
What a time! What a time to be
Exactly.
alive. A good, lot. As much as it's bad, there was definitely good in between too, and we had to talk about the good too.
Yeah.
There was definitely some good, and some people didn't like. I knew people that like nothing happened. I'm like, I'm fine. like no.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to like acknowledge everybody got a different story. Everybody experienced whatever they experienced, and at the same time, we also saw people's true colors for real, for real.
Oh my God. Woo. Yes. Seriously.
Want to fight over a mask or like a piece of cloth?
And opinion about a mask or not. And the shots, oh God. It's just like, yo, do you. Like, I don't care that much, but whatever.
But well, no, you also no offline wanted to mention. No, speaking of of 2020, I guess it's kind of leads to the perfect segue to or this self care with the hustle culture that we kind of in, and you know living in a capitalistic society, and they're like this is everybody's home with their phone or on their laptop, and we got all these like IG gurus like go get an LLC or we had
Crypto
the
and
stimulus checks and like get your LLC with your stimulus check, do this, start a
right.
business with your check, and like or do this, do that.
Coffee, like
And I was definitely was like getting all these different business courses and stuff. I mean, I'll
yeah.
write it off at the end of the year, but like for my education purposes. But like,
Some of it
yeah.
was great. Like, it kind of like I know your podcast. I began to follow other social workers. I was like, wow, I love how we put our field out there now. I actually had time to sit and listen. I'm like, yes, finally, people would know that we are human and we go through. Well, I don't want to say it.
Yeah,
It's we
yeah. No, yeah,
go through things
the
too.
podcast is definitely
Yeah.
definitely
And,
helped.
and then like, some they, getting the businesses, getting, starting to be talented, which is great. Like my goddaughter, like she's so talented, like with her hair. She's always into something. She's 16, about to be 17. Like, shout out to her. Like she's been hustling. She's a baby. It's like I know when she make $1 billion, she better hit auntie up. That's all I'm saying. But it's a beautiful thing to see that. But sometimes it's like you gotta work 24/7. And it's like, all right, I need to sleep. But then you look raw, you look that bad if you sleep. And it's like, you need the rest. It's okay to, engage in some leisure or
Mm.
self. Yes, self-care is not like bubble baths or massages or anything like that. Sometimes it's just unplugging. Sometimes it's just having that time to yourself to just reflect on, even with all the chaos that's going on, what went well in your life, what went well, what went bad, and what would you want to work on. And also just emphasizing that, there are people that are out there that love you and maybe want to talk to you, maybe want to spend time with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to take a break to do so.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times leisure is looked at negatively.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying be leisure that don't work. I mean, I don't like waking up early in the morning, and my coworkers know this. But I gotta get up early in the morning to go to work. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I take once I'm off the clock, I'm off the clock. I enjoy that time, whether it's myself or with friends or family.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to take a break. Even with our field, not heard us even before COVID. Oh, you're a social worker. Why you act this way? That's my occupation and my career, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm myself first.
Yeah.
A lot of people are hitting that, especially, and I know one gentleman I follow, Mount Oliver. That's his name. He's great. He put that. He said before I was social.
Marvin. Marvin.
Yes, yes. I love
Shout out to Marvin.
yeah, shout out to Marvin. I love his page. He said, before I was social, I'm a human first.
Mm.
Every day, y'all, I just like, y'all like repo.
Yeah.
Yes, we're human. We're human. And it's okay to do human things. We're not
Yeah.
robots. We're not meant to work 24/7.
Yeah, I even tell my wife, I'm like, I'm not social working. I don't social work on the weekends unless
Yes.
I'm doing a special podcast episode. Like I social work Monday through Friday,
Mm-hmm.
7:30 to 4 o'clock, and
That's
uh, and then my whenever I do my podcast, and
it.
that's it.
That's
If
true.
I'm doing a speaking engagement or something like that, anything
That's it.
related to social work, I turn it off, turn it back on.
Yep, yep.
That's it.
That's how it was. I went on vacation with my boyfriend's birthday on Tuesday, and we were driving down Myrtle Beach. I told him, I said, I'm not a social worker, babe. Not for these few days. Not till I go back to work Thursday. Just so you know. And he's like, all right, that's fine with me. Unplug.
No, you have to because you work with veterans and myself working with the HIV population and like immigrant population and just social work in general. Like we have to like tune out and just live like humans. Like say we human first. Like we were human first before we even like thought about getting an MSW. So it's or B
Exactly.
or BSW. So it's like
Yeah.
you know we gotta like
You gotta live too.
act accordingly and live like
Exactly.
actual adults.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's healthy. Leisure is healthy.
Mm,
Sometimes laughing and having a good time is healthy. It's okay to unplug. It's necessary.
so
It's
I unplug while I plug my laptop in the charge my
oh,
laptop.
speaking of unplug, right?
Yeah, unplug while plug. No, like no, you're right. No, it's literally could be like I. Sometimes you kind of like feel guilty. Like I got stuff. I got like these tabs open on my laptop, and like I got to do this, and then like I ain't doing
Right.
it.
Exactly. Especially with listen, the NBA was a little disappointing in the beginning. It was a little slow. But after the play-ins and the playoffs started,
Mhm.
man, I'll be like, I know I need to go to bed in the morning. I know I need to go to bed. I get up in the morning. Man, I'm gonna just stay up, whatever. Like it is what it is. It is what it is. I was like, let me just focus at work and do what I got to do, so I ain't got to worry about it after work, so I can just enjoy myself. So I definitely hear you on that.
What's your team?
I don't really have a team.
Okay.
It's Brooklyn because I follow Kevin Durant.
Okay.
I love Durant. It get on my nerves with the switching, but oh, I do. Phoenix, they looking good. I didn't expect that. That was a shock. But see, I like Westbrook too, so
Mm.
them playing together is interesting. But I'm just like now I'm watching it as a fan
Okay.
of the game, literally. Like that whole Miami and Milwaukee series. I know I lost my voice. I was screaming at the series, especially with Butler. Like I was screaming.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And watching the Knicks almost made me miss home because like, the
Oh
Garden was
God.
rocking.
Yes. I was like, God, I'm just taking the train over. I know they
I,
was lit
I,
over.
I saw a video there like 7-5 outside the Garden shut down like they won the championship. I was like, and I reposted like if they ever win a championship in
Oh
my lifetime, the government need to do a state of emergency because
yes,
New York
yes.
City would be shut down.
Seriously, seriously. I was going crazy with them too. And then that whole drama with Sacramento, Golden State. I know one of my good friends. He's the original Golden State fan. Like he's from the Bay. And
Okay.
I met college out here, and he's always been rocking with them. So hearing his take on what's going down is so entertaining to me. And then that whole drama with Dylan Brooks, don't be talking about LeBron like that. You bugging right there. But we'll see tonight what happens.
We'll see. Hopefully I'll stay awake and watch this whole game. It's a Friday night. I ain't doing nothing tomorrow.
Yeah,
Body, let me stay up. I'll take a quick cat nap.
same.
Get the third win and watch this
Right,
game.
going out like we were 18, 19, 20.
Exactly.
And get ready to go out and stuff. So we watching the game. God, this is 30 plus. Oh man.
Tell my wife I'm practicing some self care. I'm watching this game.
Right.
I go to bed with the game over. If it's like 1:30 in the morning, it don't matter.
Seriously, seriously. Oh man.
No, but this is for the baby social workers. This like it's not all about social working and I
Yeah.
want to save the world. We are we humans and you gotta
Yes.
like just be a human first. Be
Yeah.
whoever you are. How how in the image and likeness of God and kind of live and kind of whatever is for you and just do you.
That's it. That's it. In that early years, yes, you're gonna grind and grind, grind. You probably feel like sometimes I'll be like, dang, I miss those stupid process recordings and
I
papers.
definitely don't miss those.
But then I'll be like, yeah, no, I don't miss going to school on Saturdays. But leisure is coming. It's worth it. For sure. For sure. For sure. It'd be worth it at the end. It's worth it at the end.
No, it's definitely worth it and definitely network and now with like Instagram and LinkedIn now
So much stuff now. I'm like, dang,
yes
groups
and
and
go to conferences and of course you
yeah.
got that's another thing we got pay a hella money for is these conferences but they be some of them definitely be worth it and I know there's more like millennial social work I definitely want to go to that and like
Yeah, I saw a few. I'm like, I gotta get my coins up and stuff. But
exactly.
I heard there's like social work cruise or something like that.
Oh, I ain't
I
hear about that.
I don't know if it's this year or next year. It's a lot. I
Yeah.
know Black Girls Social Work, they have a conference in Atlanta, I think, Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, they're
Uh,
doing a Labor Day weekend. There's another one in Dallas that's coming up too. So
Oh, that. Yeah, I forgot who's doing that, but we out here. I'm loving that
yes.
we're out here. You know,
And there's another Latinx conference in Dallas for
yeah,
Hispanic Heritage Month in September. So I think things are definitely happening. Just go on your phone and just be nosy. Go on people's social media and stuff,
right. Exactly.
or on
Exactly.
LinkedIn, or
Like,
even Twitter too. Like social work Twitter is amazing. I met a lot of dope people. We going to DC, so for Juneteenth weekend, we gonna be out there repping hard. So
yeah. Oh, I may have to, because I'm thinking June. I'm like, what am I gonna do that weekend? So I gotta go back. See, I'll be on and off Twitter. I'll be wanting to at people on Twitter that are in our that are our governing boards over there on
uh,
Twitter, but oof.
oh, you should. What they gonna do? They gonna just block you? The worst case scenario. Sure, I got Mr. E Street following me on Twitter and on LinkedIn. he got he got to
I,
open. I already hit him up like open invitation to come on the podcast. So he know about it already. So
they just need to make the licensing. We're gonna get into the rant uniform. Make it uniform in all 50 states. Why is it one state you got to do this to get this and do these hours, do this, that? Make it all uniform.
well,
Make it make
I think that's what they try to do with with the compact, but you gotta have like the. It's all about money. At the end of the day, it's
and
about the money, and
it's taking
they cahoots with the
long.
ASWB. So it's like
Yeah.
because they was trying not to include the test, but that didn't work out too well. But I I've met people who are fighting against that, and I've definitely
hmm
been advocating for like screw the damn test. Period. Like
Because the whole
you tra-
strategy,
you're traumatizing social workers.
it really is. It's getting people out the field,
Yeah.
and we need more of us in the field. So it's a whole. That's a whole different. We could talk about that for hours.
Exactly.
Seriously.
No, it's true. And the fight continues, and definitely, it is what it is. No, the grad schools are in cahoots too because it has much they gear towards the
Mm-hmm.
private practice and get clinical and stuff. But people, people are getting smarter now. It's like, hey, we're not talking about this. So it's like, all right, people are educating themselves on it, and you see like the world is changing. So it's like the schools need to change with the times and
Exactly.
actually teach what's actually like happening in real world experience and actually have like these models and all these things like geared towards us black and brown folks, number one, and just
Mm-hmm.
AI is like
Oh my.
going ridiculous like crazy right now, and like this
Exactly.
it's just an interesting time, and I always think about HIPAA too. How's all this AI stuff and like
I was
NFT stuff and like just everything that's been happening in the last 3 years,
right.
how that's gonna affect us like in the field and
I think it's like this. You know how when you call, right, and you dial operator, and they're like, "Do you want to speak with the?" They're gonna be like, "Representative." You know how we scream.
yes.
They go straight back to AI. Like I feel like it can't be AI social worker. It can't
No.
because our people they don't want to speak to a real person with feelings. Like I know sometimes, like especially with veterans, if I or even when I was working with youth, if I would start this was early in the career. If I would start using those clinical terms, they'd be like, "What? What?"
Exactly.
And I'm like, oh, "Let me break it down this way." So AI is trying to get in there, but I just wish AI could do my progress notes. That would be.
It's funny you
That
it's funny
would
you said that 'cause actually I actually did wrote a tweet about it. It's just to joke around. Like I was like, ChatGPT, please type my progress notes.
that would be amazing because I hate doing notes. I'm like, can't, can't my client just tell you what we talk about and that's the end?
Or a smart computer, like I'm here with you, but you just like or voice to text message and like you just speak into it and they write it up for you.
And then that's it. That's it. Because oh my God, them notes are the devil. Man, oh, one thing in the field I
Who,
can't stand.
who knows? That might happen.
Right out there, oh, you might be onto something. You be the guru for real, for real.
Just that's some of the stuff that I hope NESW is thinking about and
Yeah,
it's because if we thinking about it, we working. I hope y'all thinking about it and how that's gonna relate to how we work and whether we gonna have jobs because that's a new thing now with the AI. Like
taking over
here
job.
to taking over jobs and stuff, taking over restaurants too. The Mickey D's, the flipping the burgers with no staff, and so it's like.
I need to know, will the ice cream machine will it still work at McDonald's? That's what we need to know that. We need to have that conversation. Oh gosh.
This where is there anything else you wanted to mention regarding the before we wind down regarding the self-care and the hustle culture? Because I know like with all the IG supposedly wealth gurus is like do this and like yeah, you need to sleep. Like, we in their comments, we in their live are like you up doing another live, waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Like
Yeah,
did you sleep? Like I saw your live last night. It was
yeah. You still talking? I went to bed, saw you, the circle, and I'm up again. I'm seeing the circle.
that's why I don't know how D Nice was DJing like little like 24 hours like
Yeah,
nonstop. Like I go to sleep DJing and like he's like I go on IG, he's still DJing like
still DJing. Oh my God. I'm like, you ain't tired. The emphasis is really is rest. It's not a luxury. Rest is not a luxury, it's a necessity. You
okay,
don't
your
rest.
body was shut down on you.
Yes, it will. It will shut down. And your body gives little hints
Mm-hmm.
about it. You more exhausted, you get little headaches or, pain. People underestimate pain. Pain really indicates a lot. And then you ignore that. You gotta keep going and going, and boom, you fall out.
Mm-hmm.
May have a heart attack or stroke or even just pass out because
Mm-hmm.
you prioritize rest. You gotta rest. And I've been there. Even when I was up north, I had 3 jobs at one point. 3.
Wow.
That was crazy. Like even my mom, before she passed, she said I looked haggard and tired. She said, "You don't look," and I was like, "Hey, why are you saying that?" She said, "Look at your eyes. They're dark." She said, your skin." I was like, "All right, you're making me feel really bad about myself." You know what I'm saying? But it was true. I wasn't sleeping. I literally worked a day job, had a little per diem, worked overnight, did it again for
Mm-hmm.
about 9 months for a year. That now I was like, all right, did grad school, I did that. Nah. When I want to rest, I'll rest. Cause I feel refreshed. It's not just about just the whole, physical being tired. It's your health, your heart, your brain. You're prone to getting into accidents if you're not sleeping. So
Yeah.
hustle, do what you gotta do, but prioritize rest. It's okay to fall back for a little bit and just rest.
And
It's okay.
not to cut you off, but I noticed even like the grieving process too is like you grieve. At least for me, like I feel it. Like I think like because like the anniversary of my mom's coming up, I've been like a little extra tired, and I've been like fighting on and off, like fighting actually like letting myself like grieve because I'll do so many different things. So it's like especially like the last few days, like extra hard to like wake up in the morning. I think that my body's like telling me something, like just
Yeah,
like shut down, like the
take time, take
extra
that time and
rest. And,
feel and
yeah,
rest.
yeah. So I was like, I, like just like I recognize like that within my body. So it's funny how like that the body's like tells you all that
Serious.
stuff. So
Try to ignore it, but it's so true. And grieving, like I said, is waves.
mm,
So certain dates and reminders, you're gonna go through the motions and signs. Just feel how you feel, go on that wave. That's it.
where can people find you?
I have a public IG, Shanti SHANTI locks LOCS. I just started my lock journey 8 months now.
Okay.
I black hair is professional, period. And I'm doing that to showcase my obsession with my locks and also some things with social work. So I'm trying to get better with that. So you can find me on IG there. Maybe I'll venture to Twitter. Maybe. I don't know yet. Because I might be in that dark hole. Like I thought. And I had to let that go for a little bit. So IG for now. I'm on there. For
No,
sure.
that sounds fascinating. No, no, it's important especially with all these laws too about like
Crown that.
hair and these laws that are passing. Like you got hair be a certain way and stuff to be for
Yeah.
professional stuff. So it's
I fell into that. I thought, needing that straight hair or having a certain curl when it was afro. And after that, I'm like, and then moving down here in the South, my first summer, it was either I was gonna be bald, like cut it real low again, like I did before, or try locks. And I had friends tell me, try locks, try locks. And I was like, all right, let me try it if I don't like it. Now I'm obsessed with it. So I'm like, maybe I could do a page incorporating both. So
that's cool. It's like just like think outside the box mentality
yeah,
that we do. So
exactly. Showing my human side too, but
mhm.
sprinkling that, that social work stuff in there.
No, of course.
Definitely.
No, I had to, no. Thank you for coming on. This was dope.
Yes, thanks for having me. I so love your podcast and everything that you're doing. It's
Thank you.
really great. Keep it up. Keep it up. You got a fan. You got a fan. I'm telling
Thank you.
everybody. My boyfriend sent me on YouTube. I was like, go look at his stuff. So
No, I appreciate it.
yeah, definitely.